18th of July, Rabbi First, Pierke Avos. I learned that when I was a teacher.
Oh, right. I don't remember that. Good morning, Maria.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
Here.
Good morning, Rabbi First.
Good morning, Rabbi First. Shalom
Good morning,
Aleichem.
good morning, Good morning, Lord. Good morning, Lord. How's everyone today?
Baruch Hashem.
Okay, good morning to everyone. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here. Yeshiva Tzal Menachshel Yerushalayim Kiruv Zoom. Here in Yerushalayim, we are learning, finishing up. Yesterday, we started one of the slichos from the slichos saying the Tishub on Zayin B'Tammuz. I think we're just trying to finish that. Again, the question was, right, we were dealing with a question that, first of all, the very nice, we mentioned about the breaking of the luchos and all these things, but the question is, why are we mentioning that rather than the actual cause of the breaking of the luchos? Breaking of the luchos was not done in a vacuum. There was a reason why Moshe Rabbeinu broke the luchos. And seemingly to mention the breaking of the luchos without mentioning why it happened, that seems to be a little bit out of the range of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a self-introspection on why these things happen, right? So we should have, I would think it's probably worthwhile learning the things that happen rather than things that, what was the eventual cause of what we did to make these things happen. So, and also we're dealing with the other question was that the, what's all this moaning and groaning and everything like that all about? That that's basically, as we saw in the Mesilas Yesharim, a person's really supposed to be moaning and groaning. We're supposed to be very extremely upset about the situation. To the extent that we're not upset about it, that's just a reflection of our own insensitivities to our situation, which is very, very dire, very, very distressful situation. But people have a tendency to ignore that, and unfortunately, they don't make use of the good opportunities Hashem is giving them to try and make an improvement in the situation. As we said, the worm in the bitter root thinks it's sweet because he never tasted an apple before, right? He thinks the bitter root is sweet. So, yeah, if you remember, you had in your Siddurim where the slichos were. That was the one that began with the Asanu L'cha Yosef Ruchos. Right? Remember that we were dealing with that.
This is the slichos for Tammuz, is it? 17.
Yes, Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, exactly.
Sorry, which one was it?
It was the first one of three. Usually the standard format is you say three slichos. This was the first one of the three.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I missed it. What are we reading?
That's the slicha Rishona, first slicha for Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. Should be in the back of your siddur.
864 in this.
Oh, thank you, Roy.
No, but that's just 864 or 862. Yeah. Oh, was it
Two.
Tanu L'cha?
Isnucha.
Ishma. Oh, I don't know where that is.
I have Asanu.
Yeah, Asanucha.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's begin from the beginning. We'll start again if you like. Anyone would like to read a bit?
I volunteer.
Okay, very good.
Afshanu lecha yotzer ruchos. Barov avonenu kavdu anachos zeros atzmu verabu to richos ki the shiva asar betamuz nishta bru ha luchos. We have come to you, molder of spirits, with many groanings. We are heavy with many groanings, and with decrees, many decrees. Tzrichos. What's tzrichos?
Those are like cries that the Rabut, sorry, there are many cries because there are many gezerus have become very harsh. There have been many harsh decrees, and we cry out very much over it.
They use the word shriek.
Shriek.
Many of the shrieks.
Oh, the shrieks. Oh, okay, I see it. Because on the 17th of Tammuz, the tablets were smashed.
Okay. So again, that just is a that was a response. That was Moshe Rabbeinu's response to making the egel, right?
Right.
Seems like for some reason it's actually just ignoring the cause of it and simply just going to the eventual consequence. For some reason, which I'm not really sure about why that is. Okay, let's continue on.
Galinu mi base abechira di nenu nech tam venig zara gezera v'cha shach ba'adenu ora ki b'shiv'a asar v'samuz nisrafa haTorah. Okay, so we are exiled from the house of from our chosen house. Our judgment was sealed, and a decree was decreed. And darkness it was for us instead of light.
I mean, it became dim. I mean, our light was dimmed. Denu aura, and it became darkened for us. The light became darkened for us. That what was light, it now became dark.
Right. Thank you.
Is this referring to the decree or to light?
Well, it's going to say that the Torah the Torah was burnt on the Yudzayin B'Tammuz. But again, it's all talking about what the eventual consequence was. It's not talking about what the cause of it was. What was the cause for the Torah. So show him if Kadosh Baruch Hu would allow Shem Yirakin that a Sefer Torah should be burnt, right? There must be a cause for it. Everything in this world happens through the direction of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem's not going to allow certain things to happen unless there are good reasons why they should occur. So what we seem to be mentioning here is the things which occur, but not really why they occur. And there's always a why. There's always a reason to why.
But also, there doesn't seem to be a proper connection. We were exiled because the Torah was burned. We didn't burn the Torah. What's the cause and effect relation? I mean, it doesn't seem that there's a cause and effect relationship between the beginning of the verse and the end.
Well, no, the fact that the Torah was burned was on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, and the Luchos were broken on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, right? So that was the date that these things occurred on, right? But the ramifications, right? When Gilino Beis Bechira were exiled from the Beis Hamikdash, and there was decree, and there was the darkening of the light, right? So the key doesn't necessarily mean because of it. Means like when did it occur? When these things occurred on the 17th of Tammuz.
So the exile and the decree and the darkening and the burning of the Torah, they were all things that happened on the 17th of Tammuz?
Apparently, yeah.
But without the Torah, then we haven't got the temple.
Well, if one Torah is burned, that doesn't still have lots of Torahs left.
I mean, each one was a separate event, and but they all had one thing in common. They all occurred on this day of Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. There's going to be more.
Right. Okay. Harsu oivenu ha hechal uvarcha shechina miza vis hechal v'nim sarnu biyad zedim lehis achal ki b'shiv'a asar v'samuz ha'amar tzelem b'heichal. Okay, so our enemies tore down the sanctuary, and the presence of God fled from the sanctuary, from the sanctuary's corner, and we were consigned to the hand of wanton ones to be consumed, when on the 17th of Tammuz, an idol was set up in the sanctuary.
Right. If you trying to find the common denominator of all these things, that which all starts with the breaking of the luchos. Meaning the breaking of luchos is symbolic of the disruption of the relationship that the Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to have with Klal Yisrael. Right, the luchos were they call luchos a bris. Luchos a bris meaning the covenant. Meaning a covenant exists between two parties, right? That means there's a relationship between two parties. So when these luchos were broken, that represented symbolically a rift in the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael, which was precipitated by the Chet Ego, right? So even though the Chet Ego was what precipitated the rift in the relationship, but the real tzara, right? The real thing we have to be concerned about is that there was a disruption in the relationship between the Kadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael, and therefore all these other things could happen also as consequent to that. That the Sefer Torah was burned, we had the Shekhinah left the base of Mikdash, the base of Mikdash was destroyed, we went into Gullus. All these things are a consequence of the very basic lack of that. When we said yesterday in the davening, Avinu Malkeinu, right? That Avinu Malkeinu, we have to have a relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu on the basis of that Kadosh Baruch Hu is Avinu, he's our father, and at the same time he's our father, he's also our king, right? Which each thing has certain advantages and also responsibilities with it. And if you want to maintain a relationship, right, you have to live up to the obligations and also the enjoy the advantages of the relationship, but at the same time you have to be careful to fulfill the obligations of the relationship. And if that's not going to take place, as the Chet Ego first and foremost primarily represented a rift in our obedience to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so then all the other advantages of that relationship fall apart. There's no Beis Hamikdash, which is a tremendous advantage because we are special to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no Sefer Torah because that's a virtue that we enjoy because of the fact that we are close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's Eretz Yisrael, which is a very special gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu because we are so close to him and loyal to him, and all the other things as well. So if the relationship becomes weak, then all the other advantages to the relationship also become weak or even non-existent.
Okay, Zerunu Meir El Ir Vanil Kad Menu Rav Vitzair Harva Misosenu Ve'esh Ba Hiv Ir Ki Vishiva Asar Visamuz Havika'a Ha'ir. Okay, so let's see. We were scattered from city to city. The old and the young were taken captive. Our joy was destroyed and burned. When on the 17th of Tammuz, the city wall was breached.
So again, that's also that the symbolically, like what is the Chayma, the wall of Yerushalayim represent? The wall of Yerushalayim represents symbolically our distancing ourselves from the rest of the world. That it's a very important characteristic of the Jewish people that they remain aloof and apart from the rest of the world. And the wall of Yerushalayim is a symbolic representation of that separateness that we have to maintain. And therefore, if we do maintain it, we enjoy the advantages of it by remaining separate from the rest of the Goyim. And on the Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, that wall was breached. I mean, there was a tremendous rift now in our being influenced and being affected by the rest of the world. That took place on Yud Zayin B'Tammuz.
Tafash Mikdashenu Tsar HaMashmid V'Nutal Me Chasan V'Kala Etz Ada V'Tzamid Yan Ki Asnucha Nitanu Lahashmid Ki V'Shiv'a Asar V'Samuz Batel Hatamid. Okay, so the destroying oppressor behaved insanely in the sanctuary. From the groom and bride, armband and bracelet were taken. Because they angered you, they were delivered to destruction. When on the 17th of Tammuz, the continual daily offering ceased.
Right. That was
nullified.
Yeah. Right. When the Tamid in the morning and the Tamid Bein Arbaim in the afternoon, that was one of the primary korbanos that was offered every day in the Beis Hamikdash. And it's a very big advantage in having that done. Very great spiritual ramifications for having the Tamid being offered in the morning and the afternoon. And when that ceased, we lost a lot of the advantages that korban brought for us. We no longer had that blessing that we received from the korban hatamid, bein boker, bein bar bayim, whether in the morning and again in the evening. So we lost that, and we lost therefore its positive influence on us, and not only us, on the whole rest of the world. What do we care? What do we have to mention anything about the Chassan Batalia? Why is that so? They took away the they took away the bracelets from the Chassan and Kala. What's the big deal? What's so important about that, Roy? Any idea?
I have to look at the Chassan and Kala must be representative of something. Doesn't mention it. Who's
Mayor, I think you're talking, but you're muted.
Sorry about that. My guess is that their union is broken by that. That's what it's talking about.
The Chosin Kala could be a Shem and us.
Could be metaphorically, it could be metaphorically.
Yeah, and the armband. What's an armband? What's that do? It's a symbol of union, is it?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth. I'm not, it's the Utsmeed. That's one. Where is that one? One? Do you have a reference to that, where that's referring to?
Nothing here. Maybe in another safer, but nothing.
I have a reference to in Midbar 3150. I don't know what that have to do with it. Where do we see what's this referring to? For the same matter, you know, if you take a little look at the brachas and the Shever brachas that we see under the chuppah, and also for the 7 days of Mishta, of celebration for the Shever brachas, we make several very direct mentions in those brachas to Yerushalayim, right? It's strange that in the middle of the Shever brachas we start mentioning about things like Yerushalayim.
Read that pasuk, Rabbi.
You found the pasuk?
I have it, yeah, right here.
In the
It
Midbar.
says, and there is a reference to that. It says, so we have brought an offering for Hashem, what any man found of gold vessels, anklets, and bracelets, rings and earrings and clasps to atone for our souls before Hashem. So it's a form of atonement by giving up your valuables, I guess.
That happens to be this week's Parsha too, as in Parsha's Matos, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Very good. Very good.
So the bracelets and the things being stolen, if it's to do with our souls being stolen, might be something to do with that we lost our somehow or other our Yiddish souls in favor of Avodah Zarah.
That's because of the pasuk that you're reading, that you seeing that from the pasuk. This pasuk is reference to, I think, when they came back from the Muhammad's Midian, they brought back all kinds of loot, the spoils of war, right?
Okay, I'll see you.
So they brought these bracelets and armbands. So what does that have to do? What does it have to do with what we're learning about here?
Yes, but when were these stolen? When were these taken from us? On the destruction of the temple.
Well, in the Kina, in the Slika that we're saying now, they're referring to it was taken from us, right? Because it had to do with the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah, right.
Right. So that means that so that's to be metaphorical. That where was it? Groom and bride, the armband and bracelets were taken. Pressers behaved insanely in the sanctuary. From groom and bride, armband and bracelet was taken. For the anger, you were delivered to destruction. In the sanctuary was what? Was the altar with the cheruvim?
There was the ride, and there was the shulchan and the menorah, all those things. Yeah.
So did the cheruvim have armbands?
I don't think so. They had wings.
Yes. Well, they had probably had arms as well.
Maybe.
So, but it doesn't say that the armband bracelets were taken from the Cheruvim, but still, the groom and bride, but they weren't bride and groom, were they? I'm just sort of tossing it around.
Me too. I'm also trying to figure it out. It is not making much sense to me right now. Okay, maybe we'll just go further. In the meantime, I don't have a good answer. I don't have a good explanation for that yet.
They wouldn't mean from actually an actual groom and bride.
Well, yeah, in reality, yeah. I mean, there was a reality of a actual reality. There was a strong connection between the celebration. We see that up to our time. That the celebration of weddings is much more subdued than it was at the time of the basic mikdash.
So maybe I'm thinking of sort of really bad things. I'm thinking here that they took the symbols of marriage away from the chosin and color.
Yeah, that's right.
So that they could take her and kill him or something like that.
Not clear exactly what the effect was. Yeah. We have to work this out a little bit better. I don't have it clear.
All right. For the moment, that's exhausted me.
Yeah.
I did my ideas.
Yeah, let's move on a bit. We'll try. Maybe we'll get some more clarity as we go further with this. Okay. Let's see. What's the next verse?
Good.
Yeah. Kala memenu kohoid. Shevach, right?
Okay. Where's the yod? Because they angered you, they were.
Right. Maybe you want to read a bit. Right, you can read.
No. I'm just mumbling to myself.
But you do it so well.
Yes, I know. Very practiced.
Okay. Yeah, Kala Imenu Hod V'Shevach. It came to an end. The splendor and the exaltation. Harbo Shalach Oyev Aleinu V'Shevach. Okay. So that also came to an end, right? Harbo Shalach. There was he unsheathed his sword. Oh yeah, the foe, our enemy, took out his sword. To massacre. right? The massacre. Yos Ololimu Yunokimu Running Lateva. And even the babies and the nursing children should be prepared to be slaughtered. He had no mercy, man. The enemy had no mercy on us. No mercy. Okay. Why keep Sheva Azabatamas Battle Ola Bezeba? That's when the Thomas no longer brought the Oila Bezeba. Different types of korbanos. It came to us end the bringing of the korbanos. Maradnu l'shochen ma'onos. So we were rebellious against Hashem. So we rebelled against the Shochet, who dwells ma'onos in the highest heavens. L'chein nispazarenu b'kol pinos. Therefore we were scattered to all the four corners of the earth. Right? You see, this points the finger at those who rebelled against Hashem. You see, the rebellion against Hashem caused gullus. That the gullus was precipitated by our rebellion. Why does gullus have to be a consequence of rebellion? Because what are you going to do with the person who's rebelling against you? Right? The only thing is to do is get rid of him, right?
Mhm.
Listen, there are different types of areas, right? For example, you have a shogeg, right? So, person does something by mistake, so that's terrible. That's pretty bad. But there's no reason he has to go into gullus for that, right? Person made a mistake. He's not doing something so terrible that it requires gullus. Why does rebellion require gullus? Because the person rebelling, it's like a thorn in the side. Something that person can't live with. Can't live with somebody who's causing a rebellion. So if there's a shogeg, a mistake being made, so that's not a reason to be thrown into gullus. But if there's going to be rebellion, that's a reason to be thrown into gullus. Okay.
Mhm.
It says further, so our joyous dancing was turned into kinos, dirges, lamentations. And why keep Asubatamas Batlo Carbonis? The Carbonis were battle. So up until now, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 references to the 17th of Tammuz. The first one was on the 17th of Tammuz, the Lucos were broken. The second was on the 17th of Tammuz, the Sefer Torah was burned. The third one was on the 17th of Tammuz, the city walls were breached. On the 17th of Tammuz, the Tamid was now suspended. And 6, the 17th of Tammuz, the Ola and Zevach were also suspended. And finally, what we just read now, also there's the, in general, carbonus. Why there has to be this apparent repetition, a specific mention of the Tamid, then a less Olus V'zav Mochim, and then finally carbonus. That's also not clear to me why you have to make special references to each and every one of these three things in terms of they're all carbonus. Okay, and anyway, that's something to think about. And I guess we'll pick up with this later tomorrow, Mitzvah.
Okay,
Okay, Roy, thank you. Have a good afternoon, Mitzvah.
you too. Thank you.